Hey, this is King Jimmy Un-Author-ized. I want to talk to you about Ben Carson's recent comments about the poverty mentality. Dr. Ben Carson and many like him sincerely believe that poverty is mostly a choice and mostly one of your mental state. However, I believe many like him are only speaking half-truths when they say such things. Now let me set this straight. I believe sincerely that there is such a thing as a poverty mentality. There are mindsets, beliefs, actions, attitudes, habits, and things that you do that unless you overcome those mentalities, habits, actions, and the things that you do, you will always be poor no matter what you are doing in your life. You will always be poor unless you overcome those habits and those mentalities which ultimately keep people poor, not only in one generation, but the next. And at the end of the day, those habits must be completely overcome, those mindsets must be conquered, and you must be able to press on because you will not escape poverty. Let me say this straight out the gate. You cannot escape poverty unless you pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But that's only part of the equation. But overcoming mindsets surrounding poverty is one thing. But then you also have the challenges of the fact that there are systemic issues. For example, most of us would think it's not too hard in this country to make a six-figure income, especially if you're a dual-income household. But you also have to consider that there are systemic issues with that. For example, in this country, 50% of wage earners earn less than $30,000 a year. Only half the jobs in America that are available in America pay at least $30,000 a year. And the jobs that pay six figures or more, less than 10% of wage earners in this country earn six figures or more income on an annual basis. So you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps all you want. You can overcome the mentalities that you have to overcome. But the fact still remains there's the ever-present challenge that there is only so much opportunity to go around in order to make the type of income that you need to escape poverty in this country. Because if you can't make that income, then and if you're in that 50% of all wage earners category, then you're going to have a very difficult time being middle class or affluent in our society. And no matter how much you pull yourself up by the bootstraps, no matter how much you try, no matter how hard you assert yourself, there are going to be those who simply don't have the same opportunities that other people have. Now, is that right or wrong? Well, that's a values question, and that's something maybe we need to talk about as a society. Personally, as being a capitalist and libertarian individual, libertarian-minded individual, I don't mind the fact that there are these challenges in our society. I don't mind the fact that there is so-called income inequality. However, with that said, that doesn't mean that those aren't things that are actual realities that exist and challenges that have to be overcome. And guess what? Not everybody in life is going to have the opportunity to overcome those challenges. And it's just that simple. And I say that as an individual who has gone from being very poor, and I was lucky at the end of my pay period if I was broke, usually meaning I was below broke, to being an individual who lives in one of the more affluent parts of the city that I live in and makes a pretty comfortable income for a living. So I know about rising through the adversity and overcoming poverty and becoming a more affluent middle class, upper middle class individual. So I know those challenges. But I also know that plenty of people that I've worked with over the years who are perfectly good, moral, straight, minded individuals who were all about hard working and pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. I know that not all of them have had the same opportunities that I have had in order to overcome poverty. And they tried just as hard as I did. They asserted themselves just as much as I did. And they had the right mentality, but just for whatever reason, providence, chance, or whatever you want to call it, simply didn't work in their favor. Because there were issues that they needed to overcome that, without the right connections, without the right opportunity, they simply couldn't overcome. And no amount of mentality will ever help them overcome those obstacles. But they won't escape poverty unless they, and that's the irony, they won't escape poverty unless they have the right mentality to begin with. But just because they have the right mentality is no guarantee that they will escape poverty. So anyway, this is Jimmy. I just wanted to toss this out there that Ben Carson in his comments, they're only half-truths. He's only telling you half the truth. Yes, there is such a thing as a poverty mentality, but there are also serious systemic issues that have to be considered that make poverty an amazing, complex thing, and it's not a matter of just turning on the right switch and then the noggin. This is Jimmy. Have a good day.